Welcome to Living Martial Arts with Master Ray Gale, aka the Dark Master. Living Martial Arts discuss and examines the everyday exercise, philosophy, and lifestyle of the martial arts enthusiast. The host talks about his own training, past and present, and he also interviews many martial artists to discover how they continue to live their own martial arts journey. Tune in for top tips on how to get the best out of your martial art. Or perhaps you're thinking of starting a martial art. This podcast offers you an easy way to dip your toe in. Sign up for the newsletter at livingmartialarts.com and get regular updates and training tips direct to your inbox. Follow the Dark Master on Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram at Living Martial Arts.
Hi, it's me again, the Dark Master, with part 2 with Mr. Gary Foster from TSA Taekwondo. So I had a great chat in the first podcast, mainly about his martial arts journey, which was really great to hear. And I think that's the thing about why I like doing these podcasts, because we sort of see people, at tournaments and events, and you don't know really the path they've travelled. So it's nice to have heard that. So how are you doing, Gary?
Yeah, really well, thanks. Yeah, I love the first chat. It's great. Like you say, it's so fascinating to hear people's journeys, and it's fascinating to see how many people you actually both know and you've crossed. Even though, prior to us coming to your competitions, I'd seen you at competitions, and I'd heard all about you from Master Minot. But I'd never really met or spoken to you before. And, I really only got to know you when we started coming along to the Puma competitions. And there are so many people in our history that are, the same people. So it's great. It's great to find that out.
Well, on the first one, you even mentioned Bert Cullender. Now, his name doesn't come up very often, I have to say.
No.
But he was very, very, very well known back in the day. A lot of people I know trained with him, because obviously with things like particularly Taekwondo, it spread through the armed forces, and particularly the RAF. My instructor was RAF, and he was stationed at RAF Locking in Weston-super-Mare. And started a school at Weston, then Bristol, and so on.
All right.
Yeah, so a lot of the people that obviously in those early days were military people.
See, I thought your instructor was Master Jew. I thought
he was. Yeah, he was an RAF guy.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Master Jew was the RAF guy.
Yeah. He was.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, he was stationed. He was stationed at RAF Locking in Weston-super-Mare.
Right.
He opened the school in Bristol, but we used to go to the Western school that he opened. Obviously, very close together, Western and Locking, or Locking in Western, I should say. And we used to go there literally every Sunday for Sunday training. It was like you did your 2 days in the week, but if you wanted to travel, you could go to Sunday morning training, which was sort of like physical sort of training, that type of thing. And it was really good. It's really good. I mean, I really, those early days in Taekwondo really sort of formed me as a person, and my love for Taekwondo. And actually, I have to say that Grandmaster Jew, he was particularly in those days, he was quite into the technical side of Taekwondo.
Yeah.
And I think I sort of got my passion for that side of it, because I still like doing patterns now. Even now, I love the feel of doing a pattern and completing it and it feeling good. Even though I can't do them as well as I used to, but I still enjoy them. And I think, that's why, as I said on the first podcast, I wanted to do well in all areas of Taekwondo at that time, and be able to compete in all the different disciplines.
Yeah, it's amazing how your instructor influences, what you're passionate about. Because when I started training with Master Sahota, he was very, very technical. He was, and I guess that was my most technical phase. It was handy in a way, because I did my first dan with Master Sahota and my second dan as well. So it was great. I knew all the technical. I've since forgotten pretty much most of it. And then, my students will say that I'm more interested in the sparring and the fitness side of things. And Mr. Harper comes and helps us with our grading, and he's always going, well, you need to concentrate a bit more on this technical aspect of this. And I'm going, yeah, I know. Yeah, I really should.
Yeah, I know. Well, to be honest, at competitions, occasionally I speak to your students, and they obviously love training with you. The way that they respond, they obviously love it, and they love the way that you are. And I think whatever you do, you have to be happy with what you're teaching, and then people will graduate and stay with you if they love what they're doing. So obviously it sort of brings me on to my next question, really, about you. The way that you live your martial arts every day now, and I know that obviously you're a full-time instructor. So I mean, what's your model? I mean, my model. I mean, I've sort of hired leisure centres, which is what I still do to this day. Leisure facilities and community facilities. I used to teach quite a bit in schools. I don't do that now, really, because I had to stop doing that because of time, particularly in around sort of 20 years ago when Puma started. I didn't really have that time. But occasionally I will do some teaching in schools.
Right.
But and I quite enjoy it, and I will do some sort of write to schools and send information to schools, asking them if they want me to come and do an assembly and things like that. A bit of a marketing thing. But yeah, what sort of model do you tend to use?
We started off very similar. We were in village halls because we couldn't get into the leisure centre. There was just no time slots available except for a Sunday night at 8 o'clock, which nobody's really interested in coming out at that time. So we hired village halls all surrounding the town that I live in, and so I had there was about 6 different venues that we had, and we did that for about 3 or 4 years. And then we managed to get into the big leisure centre in the town, and we kind of consolidated a lot of the classes in there together. But we really didn't sit right still. We had about 250 students.
Yeah, wow.
All around these 6 different venues. So then we started looking for a unit that we could, like an industrial unit that we could use.
Yeah.
And we managed to get one in about 2009. So then we kind of brought all of our, because I teach in two different towns, Sittingbourne and Faversham, which is the next town along. And we had about 150 in Sittingbourne and about 100 in Faversham. And right up until COVID times, we taught in Faversham, but it just got too difficult. So we had to close that down. And now everything is centered in our training hall that we've got. We've got these fantastic facilities where the rent keeps going up every year.
As it does, yeah.
Yeah, but we've got these double thickness mats, as a permanent structure, and we've got not kickbags, but freestanding kickbags. Okay, we don't have any, none screwed to the wall or anything like that. So I only teach in the one location now. It's got these mats. It's 17 by 9 meters. It's absolutely brilliant. It's a real instructor's dream sort of thing. There's space for the parents. Not that parents are allowed in at the moment, but I teach 20 classes a week. So I do Monday to Thursday and then Saturday, and I normally do 4 or 5 classes a day. And I don't teach on Fridays or Sundays, apart from obviously gradings and special events, that sort of thing. Yeah. So it's all in the one location now, and we've got about 230 students at the moment. We've been around about 250 or below for the last about 12, 13 years.
Yeah.
And it's made for a great living, a great lifestyle, and I sometimes pinch myself. I'm teaching these tiny tigers, which are 3 and 4 year olds. We've got a class for preschoolers, 3 and 4 year olds. And I'm just got such a big grin on my face when they're running around, and they're trying to. I run after them with one of our blocker pads, and they've got to try and block above their head, and I'm running after them, and I hit them only lightly, just minor concussion sort of thing. So I'm hitting them on the head like this, and half of them don't get it, so they're not blocking at all. So I'm just hitting them on the head like this sort of thing, and they're just squealing, with delight sort of thing, because I'm chasing them.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because I I love doing a very similar thing, because I got the blockers as well. I do exactly the same thing. I get them at one end of the hall. I say, right, go, and they got to get past me without me hitting them on the head. Yeah, and it's really good, and it's very, very, very interesting, because I actually do enjoy. I know a lot of instructors listening to this will think, wow, couldn't think of anything worse. But I actually enjoy teaching the little ones, the little Puma. We call them little Pumas, 4-year-olds and so on, because all the pressure's off. I'm not trying to get them to break 2 inches of wood or do patterns or whatever. I'm just having fun and getting them to do martial arts style games, really.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is what I love to do, and as I'm a big kid myself, then it works really well.
Yeah, you learn through fun, don't you? You learn through games, especially at that age.
Yeah, definitely. Well, there's a couple of things I want to come back. You mentioned about Sunday. Do you know what? We had, myself and Master O, when we first started in '83, and right up until I would say the '90s. Well, and middle '90s. Our most successful teaching day was Sunday.
Really?
We used to have it. Oh, there he is now. I've got to have to turn that off. I didn't realise I turned that back on. That's my phone. But yeah, our most successful day was we used to have 5 classes on a Sunday at Bath. Yeah. And the class, what you mentioned about 8 o'clock, our biggest class was 8 till 9.
Wow.
But we used to do 8 till 9 on a Sunday. And then the whole sort of adult class used to go in the bar until it closed. and they'd have to chuck us out at like 11 o'clock. So right now it's time to go. So, yeah. But it
right, that's it. I'm starting Sundays from next week. Oh wait a minute, it's New Year. Yeah.
It was amazing. It was amazing because we had Wednesday and Sunday at Bath.
Yeah.
Mondays, Thursdays at Swindon and so on. But Sundays was huge, absolutely huge. And people used to say to us, "How do you get so many people on Sunday?" We went, I don't know. People
don't know. They just turn up.
Yeah, I don't know whether it was because there was nothing on TV or they went out Friday night, Saturday night, so Sunday was a bit of a dead night. I don't really know. I have no idea.
Right, wow.
But people loved it.
Wow.
People loved it. And the other thing that I was going to come back to was you mentioned, and this is what I say to people, because I always say to people, like, martial arts instructor, as in a martial arts instructor, it's the best profession in the world. I love it. And the reason I love it is because of the lifestyle. Now, I get up. I'm a early riser, and I get up very early, 6 o'clock, and by 6:30, 6:45, I actually try and get out, and I do my training. I have all my equipment here, which I love. I do my chins, my dips. I've got some kettlebells. I love all that. I still love my physical training to this day. Yeah, and I say to people, that's why I love it. It's I make a good living. And I try and give a good service, but it's the lifestyle I love.
Yeah.
Yeah. The people that do it. So.
Yeah. I love not working on a Friday. I teach on a Saturday now, which, for the first 15 years I didn't do as a professional. So that was great, but it's not too bad on a Saturday. And we obviously reserve Sundays for things like competitions and gradings.
Yeah, definitely. So, with the model that you've got now, you've got your own unit. I mean, what are the? You mentioned some of the challenges, like the rent going up all the time. Because I actually, myself and Master O, we actually had a place in Bath. Very short. It was actually an old auction room that we bought, and we changed it to transformed it into a dojang, and it had a little cafe and whatever. Anyway, to cut a long story short, soon after we had it, things didn't go as well as we wanted to. Bath is very expensive as well. There's a lot of problems. But what are the challenges that you found?
It's very cold in winter.
Right. Yeah.
Heating the place is. We've got these particular heaters that, unless you stand under them, you don't feel any benefit from it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's always a bit of a challenge. And if people constantly go somewhere that's cold training, it's going to take the shine off your training a little bit. Going, I don't want to go out. It's cold outside, and then it's cold when I get to the dojang. So we have to try and get around that. In the summer, it's great. We just open the doors, and we have quite a good flow of air, so it keeps it quite cool. But the thing is, normally within about 5 minutes of you being there, it's my warm up, because I only do 1 hour classes. I never do anything longer than 1 hour. I try and make sure that the warm up is such so that after 5 minutes, everybody is taking their jumpers off and taking their tracksuits off and stuff. So yeah, that's always a tricky one.
Yeah.
Really cold in it, because there's no insulation there. It's just like a steel roof, or a fabricated roof.
Yeah.
So lots of the cold gets in there. What else is there? Parking's an issue.
Yes, yeah, we had that in Bath. Yeah. You can't park anywhere in Bath. I tell you, it's a nightmare. I don't even know. Oh man, that's hard work. But
for our earlier classes, when the other businesses are still there, we have one class that starts at 3:45. Our Tiny Tigers class starts at 3:45, and all the other businesses are still there, and they're all parked outside, and the parents are double parking and trying to find places and abandoning their cars and just getting to training on time and stuff. But then as the day goes on, all the businesses have left and there's plenty of parking. It's the complete opposite,
No, that's great. Well, it's just coming on to other questions, because I always when I was competing, I could eat anything I liked and not worry about it.
Yeah.
And I'm quite obsessive about what I eat. And I know we were talking at the start of the first podcast off air about I hadn't eaten for 2 days and my tummy was a bit delicate. So but I feel great.
Right.
Because I do a little bit of fasting and stuff like that. So it was just really whether you have any. You were mentioning that you eat quite often. So,
yeah, I do. Yeah.
Yeah. Is that something that you've always had to do, or is it something that as you got older?
I guess like you, I've always been able to eat whatever I wanted. It hasn't really affected my weight. So after about, I think it was the mid 30s, 38, 39 sort of thing, I could feel that my metabolism was slowing down, and I kind of needed to watch what I eat. So I try not to eat, too much of, donuts and ice cream and chocolate and stuff like this. The stuff all the kids love to eat in my house, sort of thing. So there's always plenty of it for them and whatnot. So I always try and avoid that now. But I've always eaten every couple of hours. I'm a big fan of saurine, and I've always have porridge in the morning, so I'm always snacking on those sorts of things. I don't say I do. I'm not great with my diet. But when I'm training, I use this product called Huel. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. So I rather than, because I teach for 5 hours in one go, rather than going, because I have an office where I train, rather than going into the office and shoving, some sort of snack in my mouth and coming out chewing sort of thing, I just have this, I just use Huel, and I put it in a normal water bottle, and I just drink that consistently throughout the training. And it's fantastic. It's like a vegan product, and it fills you up. It's like a meal replacement. It's not heavy on protein or anything like that. It's got proteins, fats, and carbohydrates. And it's really good nutrition for me and whatnot. So I've been using that for about the past 3 or 4 years. It's been great. It's really revolutionized my training and stuff.
Wow. Yeah.
Teaching some.
Yeah, no, I've seen it advertised. I've seen it quite a number of times. It's come up on my Facebook feed and stuff like that. I've seen it. I've never tried it. I know a couple of people that have. They seem to get on quite well with it. I sort of changed my eating protocol really because of my mother, who unfortunately died because of the complications of diabetes, and she wasn't your typical diabetic. I mean, I'm quite slim, but I have my sort of mother's shape. My mother was never over 7 stone, and she didn't really eat a lot, to be honest.
Yeah.
But what I found was that I just felt that I get a real big afternoon dip in energy.
Yeah.
And I think my blood sugars were going sort of up and down. So I actually stopped and I reduced my carbs and I started eating more fat. And I find that now really, really beneficial to me. I don't get that the ups and downs dip. My blood sugar seems or feels a bit more level. And yeah, I tend to eat. It's a very meat-based diet as it happens. And that's not to say I won't have, the odd donut or the odd cream cake or anything like that. Or if I'm out socially, I'll have whatever I like.
Yeah.
If I go to someone's house, that's fine, no problem. But I just find that seems to be a better thing that works for me. And I think what I've generally realised over the years is that one size doesn't fit all, and you've got to find out what works for you.
Yeah, definitely.
And it may be that it's more carb based, it may be it's more protein, more fat based. I would say my diet's probably more fat based rather than, but it's a meat based product. So yeah, I find it, as I say, I find it easy really, and it's easy for me. So.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, I was amazed when you said you hadn't eaten since.
A couple of days.
Yeah, a couple of days. I can't even imagine that at all.
So what's I'm always interested in obviously people that do martial arts. I'm interested in what else they do, and I'll ask you that question. I mean, I started playing guitar about the same time that I started martial arts. I still practice daily. I'm still not that good, to be honest. I end up practicing the same things and the things that I can play well. But if there's a challenge, I go, do you know what? I'm just going to quite happy playing this. So I've got a number of guitars, about 10 of them, different guitars I've collected over the years. I love playing harmonica as well.
All right.
A bit of blues harmonica and a bit of guitar, which is quite nice. The harmonica is good because I always have one in my car. So if I'm stuck in a traffic jam, I just get it out and start playing. So it's quite nice. I did have quite a crowd a couple of years ago. I was stuck on the M4 and there was a car on fire, and so I just got out and sat on the grass bank, and I had quite a crowd actually.
All right. Did you put a hat out?
It was quite. No, I should have done. I should have put a hat out, but people were very appreciative, and it passed the time. But my question really is that do you have any other passions apart from your martial arts?
I'm a really keen cyclist.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I normally do around about between 50 and 100 miles a week cycling.
Oh, great.
So I go out on Friday mornings and Sunday mornings. I'm part of a cycling club. And so, yeah, that's always good. Cycling is so expensive, though.
It is.
So always trying to upgrade your bike. I'm trying to build a new bike at the moment. And I'm just trying to save up for all the parts, because you have a new bike, you've got to have the best parts for it. So yeah, that takes away all of my money and stuff. But the other thing I'm really quite passionate about is I watch a lot of films. I'm a real big movie buff, a film fanatic. Whenever the Oscars come out, I make sure I try and watch all of the films that are nominated in the Oscars. So I love like the foreign language films as well, the ones with subtitles and all that sort of thing. So, I'm really into, it's a real passion that my mum gave to me sort of thing. She was a really, really keen film buff. So I'm really keen to, I go to the cinema regularly, at least, once every 2 weeks.
Right.
And my children, now. They go even more regularly than me. I must have passed it on to them because they're always going. You know, Spider-Man's out on Wednesday, and they're definitely they're booking times now to try and go and see that. So they're all big film buffs. But yeah, I love film and TV as well. So I've set a TV up whenever I do the washing up, which is every day. Obviously, I'm always watching the latest film or whatnot. So.
Well, the cycling. I did get into cycling briefly. 20.
Didn't you do the Land's End to John O'Groats at one time?
Yes, I did. And to be honest, I loved it. I didn't love it.
That was amazing.
I didn't love it at the time. It hurt.
No.
The first few days hurt, and I thought, "What am I doing?" Because it was actually my 50th birthday, and around that time, I was thinking, this would be great to do it for my 50th, you know. And 4 of the other guys, the instructors, said they'd do it with me. And then I remember it was actually, I'll tell you what it was. I was going through Carlisle, and I had one of those days when I was just hitting the wall every time. I got my food wrong or whatever. And I remember I came to a stop at a traffic light, I think, and I didn't have the energy to unclip my feet, and I just went over. And I landed on the pavement.
In slow motion.
Yeah, I landed on the pavement, and then these kids were walking past. And, "You all right, mate?" I said, "Yeah, I'm fine, thanks." And then the guys come out. He said, "Matt, are you okay, sir?" I went, "Yeah, I just need to stay here for a bit."
The 12 hours. Yeah.
I remember that we went into Carlisle and actually stayed at a dojang there that a friend said, "Yeah, you can stay at our place."
Oh, wow.
And I was thinking, why am I doing this? But to be honest, when I got to John O'Groats, man, I just like the elation was amazing. It was really good. So I did get into it, and I had a really nice Trek Madone bike, and it was lovely. And I know what you mean, because I went in thinking, I could get a bike for a few £100. And I went in there and he said, what do you want it for? And he said, you need something decent, something like this. And it was like, we're talking over 1,000. I was thinking, okay. Okay. So anyway, I did get it, and I did get all the gear, and I ended up, I did enjoy it. And you'll know him. I went out with Mr. Nick Evans, who's a really good cyclist, good cyclist. There were 2 things. I went out for my first 50-mile ride with him one day, and he nearly killed me. And then I did 100 miles. There was a 100-mile cycle thing from Bath to London that I did.
Oh yeah,
which actually was really good, and I did actually enjoy it. And I thought to myself, right, I need to get better at this. So I remember buying a turbo trainer.
Oh yeah,
I used to come home from training at 9 o'clock and get on this turbo trainer for 45 minutes. And tell you what, I was like hanging. I was just, because I love the challenge, I did enjoy it. And the fact that I was doing it and I was getting stronger and I was becoming a better cyclist, I did really enjoy it. I sort of had to tell myself in the end that, I've still got I've got an electric bike actually, which is quite a nice bike. I've got a fold-up bike, and I've got a mountain bike, which I still have. I got rid of the road bike. So I still love the cycling, but I don't do as much as I used to in that time.
Yeah. More motorcycling.
Yes, I love my motorcycles. I really do. It's just, I just had to downsize with my toys. Do it like that. So that was good. And the bike unfortunately had to go, but it was great while it lasted. And I can see why people love it.
Yeah. Well, I'm still doing. I've done 3,000 miles this year. So and it keeps the weight off. It's great for burning calories and stuff, and great for it's great to chat to people, not about Taekwondo, to be honest. It's great to have friends that are non-Taekwondo friends.
Well, I often say this to people as well, is that I love, since the start of lockdown, we haven't had it, but I used to go to a guitar jam session every week on a Sunday at a pub. And there was just a group of guys, there was like 5 or 6 guys, and you could come in, you could bring your guitar in, my harmonica. Yeah. And people just knew me as the black guy, Ray, who plays harmonica.
Yeah.
They didn't know that I did taekwondo or anything, and I loved it. You know, I could laugh and joke or whatever, and it was brilliant. I mean, a few of them did after a while. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
but they just knew me as hi Ray, how's it going? Used to see them in town. Yeah, you coming on Sunday? Yeah, I'll be there. And we just have a good laugh, just playing music, nothing complicated, just 12-bar blues. I used to do a bit of singing as well, which I loved.
Right.
And it was fantastic. And
brilliant.
You know, I'm hoping that once all this malarkey is over and we get back to some kind of normal, I can restart it again. You know? Yeah. So that'll be nice.
Yeah, because one of the other things I'm quite keen on is travel. Okay. So because in 2001, me and my wife went to Everest Base Camp.
Oh wow!
So we climbed up. I don't know if you know the anatomy of Everest in Nepal. It's got a valley to the left called the Gokyo Valley. And then there's a valley that leads to Everest. So we've got Gokyo Valley and Everest Valley. So we did a 3-week trek from a place called Namche Bazaar, which is, funnily enough, we got there. It's like 4,200 meters above sea level. And when we got there, they had an old telly with a video, a VHS video player. And we watched Charlie's Angels for some reason on this trek. And anyway, we set off from there and we went up this Gokyo Valley, and there was about 15 of us. We thought we were doing really well, but I think we were mid-30s at the time, about 35. Lita's, and my wife, she's 4 years younger than me, so she was like, it was one of her, after 30, this is what I want to do sort of thing. So anyway, there was a lady on the trip that was doing better than we was, and she was 62, and we were like, oh, God, maybe we're not doing so well. Anyway, we went up Gokyo Valley, and the highest point is this mountain called Gokyo-ri, and we all sat on this mountain. It was about -10, -15, something like that. And the reason we went up there is to acclimatize. And then we got this photo, and it's got Everest in the background. And it's just absolutely magnificent. Like this picture of me and Lita, like with Everest in the background. It's just a perfectly clear day. Oh, no, it's just one of my favorite photos by far, just us two. And anyway, we got the photo, and we all came down this Gokyo Valley, and then we started ascending up the Everest Valley. And we met some of the Nepalese children that live there full time. It was just the most amazing trek that we did. And we got to this place called Gorak Shep, which was 5,400 meters above sea level, which is just a tiny bit lower than Kilimanjaro. And then and then the next day we traveled to base camp. Now, I don't know if you've ever seen any detailed pictures of base camp, but it's basically an ice quarry.
Yes.
There is nothing there of interest at all. It's just, you can't see anything. You can't see the peak of Everest or anything like that. It's like a quarry made of ice. And the photos we got there were just really disappointing. It was like sat on a bit of snow and then sat on a bit of ice. And no peaks in the background because you're too close and whatnot. But the whole thing was brilliant. And as we came down, it got warmer and warmer, so our layers kept coming off. And just the walk back down to this Namche Bazaar was just what such a brilliant time in our lives. And it was over New Year as well. So we spent Christmas and New Year in Nepal and then we went, and we didn't realize it till a few years later, but we'd flown into this place called Lukla, which is, I don't know if you've ever seen those programs, but the world's most dangerous airports.
Yes, yeah.
It's always number one. The world's most dangerous. It's basically a bit of the mountain that's been cut out, and they land these tiny planes on the side of a mountain. Well, we were like, oh, look, there's this. And well, we didn't realize it was the most dangerous airport in the world.
All right. That sounds fantastic. It's I don't know, experiences like that are just it's amazing. It's difficult to explain until you've been and done it, isn't it? You know, you can't get an idea of it, even though somebody's saying but until you go to somewhere like that, you know, it's like trying to explain, I don't know, the Grand Canyon or whatever.
Yeah. So, I've done that as well. Yeah. Sorry, a cycling buddy of mine was saying, he goes, "Oh yeah, I'm going out to Everest next year. We're going to climb. We're going up to base camp." And I'm going like, "Oh yeah, I've done that." And he's like, "What? Really?" I'm like, "Yeah, sorry to say I've done it, but it was in 2001 when we did it."
Yeah. Oh, brilliant. Maybe I'll have to put that on my list.
Yeah, we went out to the Sydney Olympics as well.
Oh, right. Okay, brilliant.
So always a bit like the Olympics is my favourite.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Like TV and sporting event. And we thought, you know, we can afford it. Year 2000, we had no kids. We were both working in IT at the time. We were doing IT. So we were earning good money. And we thought, we had some relatives living in Sydney.
Yeah.
And we thought, well, let's combine the two. Let's go and stay with them. And we can see how much of the Olympics we can get to see. So I don't know if you remember in the any of the events in the Sydney Olympics, but it was the time of Maurice Green in the 100 meters.
Yes, yeah.
And Marion Jones.
Yes, yeah.
And we were there for both of those. We watched both those races live. It was just brilliant. And then we watched. Do you remember Kathy Freeman? She put that. Yeah. She put that skin suit on and did that. And Catherine Merry from GB got a bronze in that event. We were there in the stadium for that. Wow. And that was still to this day, it's the biggest ever Olympic crowd. It was like 120,000 people. And we were part of that crowd. You know, it was just brilliant. Well, but the best event of all, sorry to...
Yeah, no, go for it.
The best event of all was the 10,000 meters.
Okay.
Believe it or not. Anyway, the race started and it was Haile Gebrselassie.
Oh, wow.
Paul Turgat. And the race started and two groups developed, an African group and a European and Americas group. So there was like a black group and a white group almost, effectively.
Yeah.
With the black group going way faster than the European group and whatnot. And it just carried on that way. They were just so much better. And anyway, 10,000 meters of racing, like 27 minutes, I think it was. And then Haile Gebrselassie and Paul Turgat are racing down the home straight. And it was just the most amazing thing. 120,000 people just roaring because hardly any of them were from Ethiopia or Kenya. So we were all just like racing just as neutral. Sorry, all just cheering as neutrals at this amazing race. And it was just brilliant. And Gebrselassie just took it on the line, just like inches. It was
one of my favourite athletes of all time. I remember it because he's one of my favourites, Haile Gebrselassie. I just think he was awesome. Yeah. What a competitor. Sorry. Go for it. We
thought that was like the highlight of the whole games. You know, it was just the euphoria in the stadium was just amazing. But then they announced the women's race, the women's 10,000 meter race, and we thought, well, there's no way that's going to match up to the men's race. And anyway, there was I don't know if you remember it because they're not quite as famous, but there was an Irish lady called Sonia O'Sullivan.
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Yeah, and there was I think she was Romanian. A Romanian runner called Gabriela Szabo.
Okay, yeah.
She was like tiny. She was like about 6 stone. She had blonde hair.
Small,
she looked like a chicken. And anyway, those two did exactly the same thing, racing down the home straight in the last few seconds of the race and whatnot. And Gabriela Szabo just pushed ahead right at the end and won the gold medal. And we were just like, oh my God, if we're just in the first 10,000 meter race, that was brilliant. But then seeing the second one as well, it was just like one of the highlights of my life. It was brilliant.
It's incredible because I said this to someone. I went to see. This was actually in London, so it wasn't anywhere exotic as Sydney. But I went to see Linford Christie's last race in London, the World Championships, and the
Crystal Palace. Or something.
Yeah, no, it was at the Olympic Stadium in London.
Oh, okay.
It was there, and I managed to get. I don't know how I got it, but I managed to get tickets on the 100-meter straight.
Yeah,
and I was amazed how fast he ran. I was like, wow. Because when you watch it on TV, you don't realise how quick they're going. And I
the camera's moving with them.
Yeah, I consider myself quite a fast runner. But it was a fantastic. I mean, I love athletics. I've gone to a lot of the indoor athletics in Birmingham, for example.
Oh, wow.
So I do like athletics. It's something that I liked at school. So I did follow it. And but funny enough, myself and Master O, we went to Beijing just before the Beijing Olympics. We weren't there for the Olympics. We were literally there a month before, so we saw, the bird's nest and the stadium and stuff like that they built, which was quite impressive at that time. So it's incredible. But even the long distance runners, people are surprised, or that you can't get a sense of how quick they're going at the end of a race.
Lapping, doing 50 55-second laps when they're running 10,000 meters is crazy.
It's unbelievable. Well, I just got to bring you back for a moment, because you mentioned before we talk about athletics about films, and I got into. I'm not a big TV watcher, to be honest. I don't watch a great deal of TV, but I do like watching a really good series. I don't know whether you've seen it, but there's a couple of Swedish series, one called The Killing and one called The Bridge. The Bridge, yeah. Now I've watched both of those. I really enjoyed them. And it's something that I watched probably about a couple of years ago. And I thought, wow. And then I got into watching, started trying to find different Swedish films, because I enjoyed them both, and that was it. Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah. So like I said, I'm a bit hyperactive, so I find it difficult watching films. Oh, right. Yeah. sitting down for 2 hours, I think, I don't know, I want to go do something. I need to be doing something. Yeah. So that was that. But anyway, listen, coming to the end of this, what I want to ask you, and I think to a certain degree, to me as a martial arts instructor, the benefits of teaching and being involved in a martial art are obvious. Yeah. But I don't know, what are your thoughts on that? Either being involved as an instructor and seeing some of the differences that you've made in people's lives. Yeah, I think it's a real understated part of the teaching. I think if you're going to teach somebody how to kick and punch, I think it's our duty to teach them how to behave as well. Not in every aspect of their life, but the discipline that must come with teaching people how to defend themselves. I mean, we tried to give some leaflets out in a school not recently, about 3 years ago, and the head teacher said to us, "No, we don't promote violence in this school, because you teach punching and kicking and things like that." And I said to it was actually the head teacher. I said to her, we're effectively trying to help good people defend themselves against the bad people in the world. And she let it digest for a little bit, and she thought, well, actually, that's actually quite a noble thing to be doing, rather than just get a different perspective on what you're teaching. And I said, look, everything we teach comes with discipline. We say, look, if they're misusing their arts, they're no longer welcome to train in our classes and stuff. And we must have had about 2,000 people through our doors in the 17 years we've been teaching. And, loads of them still see me like in the street, and they were going, "Oh, I loved it when I came to your classes and stuff." And all the black belts are saying, it's taught me so much. It's given me so much self-confidence, and not just the physical aspect of things, but,
it's like a male role model as well, sort of like teaching me that I should listen to my parents because, you know, they've got lots of experience and stuff, because kids don't naturally listen to their parents because they're always listening to them, I guess. But there's me, I'm trying to remind them that, you know, we need to listen to our parents. Just assume your parents are always correct. I keep telling the kids. So it's great to see them, especially if they carry on their training and they get to black belt, and I see them turn into these wonderful role models of like people that just, you know, they're unrecognizable from when they started, sort of thing, you know, three and four. And now they're these, you know, upstanding members of the community. They're really respectful, and like everyone's, you know, saying this person is fantastic and whatnot. And I like to think that, you know, our Taekwondo training has gone a long way to you know, helping them turn into this type of person. And I'm sure you've had it yourself. You know, you've seen kids, and you know, they turn into these fantastic adults that, you know, you're really proud of, and their parents are really proud of, and everyone that meets them, you know, really happy that that they know them and they can count them as friends and stuff. So
no, that's great. That's great. Well, I remember this 2019, start of 2019. No, actually, it was 2018. I got asked to speak to a head teacher of a primary school. Yeah. And she said, "Oh, we got a terrible bullying problem." And one of the things we've noticed is that we've got all female teachers, so we'd like a male role model to come into the school. So she, you know, would you? It was like one of the mothers of the kids I teach. I told her about my martial arts classes. So, yeah. "Oh, you would want to see Master Gail." So she contacted me and said, "You know, would you come in and teach the kids?" I said, "Yeah, it's fine, because we've got this bullying problem, and it's mainly among the boys and blah blah blah." I started teaching, and within 6 to 8 weeks, the bullying problem stopped. It stopped. Wow. Yeah, you know, wow. I was saying to the boys, you know, we're doing martial arts, you know, and as you know, and to the girls as well, you know, it's about respect each other, and you know, they were bowing and shaking hands, and you know, just treating each other with respect. And I was trying to push that message, and within 6 to 8 weeks, it had gone. I couldn't keep on teaching that, and it was sad because, you know, I remember at an assembly, they did an assembly for me, and I was in tears. I was absolutely in tears because, brilliant. You know, I had to go. I couldn't continue doing it. But they said I'd made such a difference, and the assembly was dedicated to me. Fantastic, and it was so nice. It was so nice. I did get a number of kids from that school as well who are still with me, which is nice. Brilliant.
So, and I think a lot of the messages that we try and push out to our students, you know, you can use those in other subjects, in other disciplines and whatnot. I mean, one of my buzzword this year is effort equals progress. I say, yes. Look, effort is progress. You know, the more effort you put in, the more progress you make. And I say, no effort, no progress.
Yeah.
And I keep saying that, and I keep trying to get through to them. But the thing is, that kind of thing, it's not just Taekwondo. It will relate to anything. I said, look, you're doing your exams. The more effort you put in, the more progress you'll make. And whatnot. Yeah. So that's my buzzword or buzz statement this year. Effort equals progress. I
might have to steal that, but thank you. Listen, thank you ever so much for agreeing to do the podcasts that you've done. I want to say, well, thank you in many ways, really. Thank you for attending our events and being such a lovely, approachable person. A number of my students always comment, "Oh, yeah, who's that? So it's Mr. Gary Foster of TSA Taekwondo." You know, he brings he's a lovely guy. You know, you always fit in very well. One of the things that I say to my people when they're refereeing umpiring is do it with a smile, and you know, treat people with respect. And you know, you always do that. You always do that. You know, I've had some lovely reports about you as well. So thank you very much for doing that. And thanks for being who you are, really, and having such a great Taekwondo school and spreading the message of martial arts and what it can do for people. hopefully we'll speak again. And, thank you.
Sorry, I'd just like to say at the end, thanks for you personally, Master Gao. You've really helped me a lot in my Taekwondo journey, since I've met you. I've done a couple of gradings with the Puma organization. It was really kind of you to do that. I feel really privileged that, not many people outside of Puma actually take gradings with you. So I feel really privileged that you've let me do that. And that's, I took my 4th dan and my 5th dan with Puma, and it's been brilliant. And, when we first started coming along to Puma training, you've always been so welcome. And, Master Black, especially, you know how he is when you first meet him, he's almost like you're his best friend. And that welcome I'd never had anywhere else. So it's just been fantastic, being part of, even the small part of Puma that we have been, and and if we could do sine wave, we would have joined years ago, I'm sure.
Well, no, thanks very much. And anybody listening to this, hopefully we'll get some information from Mr. Gary Foster about his classes down there. We'll put them in the show notes. I would recommend you go along. You won't be disappointed. So thank you very much, Gary, and hopefully we'll catch up very, very soon. Take care.
Thank you, sir.